Is this the end of the bull run? How much time do we have left during this third year of bull run until we get to the end and start the bear market? We're gonna look at some charts, news, and on-chain analysis of what I believe is going to happen next on Bitcoin. Smash the like button and let's get started. Earlier on Friday, Bitcoin price had a huge candle to the downside, which sparked a lot of concerns. I saw many traders and influencers on X shouting that the bull run is over and then that's it. That's the beginning of the bear market. But just like I posted on Twitter, at the beginning of the day, I still believed that was a liquidity sweep to the downside before continuing the way up of Bitcoin price next week. We have to remember that patience is a big skill in this game, and big institutions know that you lack patience and you are over leveraged. So always try to keep that in mind before placing your trades and manage your risk. Don't play the institutional game, just sit tight, watch and observe the price behavior critically. Don't go into FOMO, don't let the emotions take over you, just watch. And guess what? Later in the day, if you zoom in to the daily time frame, my analysis confirmed. It was just a big liquidity sweep to the downside, and then Bitcoin got back into the range of consolidation. On the daily time frame, we see a really strong fair value gap formation right here in this region, but due to the liquidity sweep that happened today on Friday, 25th of July, that fair value gap has already been liquidated. And quite honestly guys, I'm not a big fan of drawing trend lines on the chart, but sometimes I do it so you can have an idea of how long the consolidation will last before the next big price move. And I believe the next move of Bitcoin price is going to happen next week. The price will continue to consolidate, trending to the downside, and then eventually we are going to spike to the upside. So on the 4-hour time frame, I still believe we are going to squeeze a little bit down, up and down until the end of next week. And then we will eventually blow off top and continue the price discovery of Bitcoin. And take a look at the 60-day cycle theory. We already had the previous cycle low on July, at the end of June, and then we are expecting the next cycle low to happen around August 21st, plus or minus 10%. We can also consider this liquidity sweep that happened today as a half cycle low. And when you take a look at the right translation behavior of the Bitcoin price, we are already in the zone where the next peak is going to happen. And I always like to use some kind of oscillator in order to have a better confluence and confirmation of the next cycle low for entries. At June 22nd, we had this bottom on the RSI VWAP indicator, and then I expect the price to continue its way up until the upside, and then we will eventually get the next bottom at around this region right here. And since I'm still strongly believe that we are on the uptrend, the bull run will continue, I don't think the RSI VWAP indicator is going to get too much further below the 50 level. Maybe on the 40, 41, perhaps 38, but not further than that. And also my Predator oscillator, I still have a lot of room to the upside, which indicates that we have not reached the top yet. And although not perfectly, but still okay, we are still strongly correlated with the M2 Global Liquidity Index. And when we make some past analysis from the previous bull runs, I still think we're gonna have the peak at around this time right here on August and the end of September. And by coincidence, we see that the Global Liquidity Index has a huge peak right here in this region. It can change, it can be earlier or later, which is okay, but I still think that overall we have more price to the upside to be discovered. And as important as the M2 Global Liquidity, we also have to consider the rate of the M2 Global Liquidity Index, if it is growing or decreasing. From this indicator right here, we still see that since the rate is above 0, it means that the liquidity is increasing overall, which is always bullish for Bitcoin. So even though we're gonna have some drawbacks right here and the growth rate may decrease a little bit. As long as it is above 0, it is still means that the Bitcoin price will continue its way up. However, once the growth rate gets below 0, it means that liquidity is taken out of the market, and then Bitcoin may actually start to go to the downside. And whenever we talk about liquidity, we also have to talk about the balance sheet of the Fed, which, as we can see, the bottom has almost been achieved right here. Eventually, quant easing will start, and then it means that more liquidity will be poured into the market. Unemployment rate is still below 5, which means the market is still under control, although we're gonna have still the rates as they are. Same applies for GDP, which means that overall there is no pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates anytime soon. And from the rate cut probabilities, we can see that everyone is expecting some rate cut in September. If that happens, my peak zone at the end of August and at the end of September may actually be confirmed. More incentives for the Fed to lower the interest rates is the fact that we are actually having trueflation continuing its way down. Yes, we may actually have some increases here and there around May and June, but actually when you look at the bigger picture, we actually see it continuing its way down. To give even more context from the previous bull run in 2021, we can see that the months of August, July and September, they were pretty solid with the exception of September. So there is still a high chance of bull run until September. We see that ETFs continue to accumulate Bitcoin. We have some outflows here and there, but overall, we see money being poured into exchanges from the ETFs. At the same time, Bitcoin reserves on the exchanges continue its way down, which means that there will be a supply shock eventually. And right now it is at 2.3. When I recorded my previous video, it was around 2.4, but still, it is going down as time goes by. For the liquidity sweep that we got today, we also see major liquidations taking place from the Bitcoin price. And since right now we are about to enter the weekend, I still expect more and more liquidation to be formed both on the upside and on the downside. This is going to be more incentive for the big institutions to liquidate those over-leveraged traders, getting more liquidity first on the downside, and then after that continue the way up of Bitcoin price. We are still on the greed level of the fear and greed index, which means that there is a lot of room until we have the extreme greed and reach the peak. In addition to that, to the NVRVZ score, although we still expect the peak to hit the 7 level, this may not actually happen, but still at least to hit the 3 or 4.5 level, it might actually trigger the peak of the Bitcoin price before continuing its way down, and then we start the bear market. And we continue to see more and more adoption from traditional finance about crypto and Bitcoin in general. As we can see right here, banks are adopting stablecoins as well as credit card payments. Not only banks and payment gateways, we also have companies and corporate institutions in general holding more and more Bitcoin, which takes the supply out of the market and makes the price go up and up. And yes, what happened today was 80,000 Bitcoin that got sold via Galaxy Digital. However, it was over the counter. Perhaps part of it. We do not see a huge price move because of it immediately. I think many people got scared of it, and that's why everyone started to fear selling. But nevertheless, as we can see right here, it was definitely a liquidity sweep, and then Bitcoin price stabilized around this region.